Hello, my name is Jonathan, and welcome once again to the Jazz Musician's Voice. Today I'm doing an interview with saxophonist Gerry Lopez, really one of the rising stars in jazz, comes from Mexico, and he actually met me in New York City originally, and we played together quite a bit. He brought me to Mexico City to do a tour, played at Zinco Jazz Club. I've stayed in touch with him throughout the years. He made his career in Europe, attended school in Paris, the conservatory, won many awards, and he's now teaching in Switzerland as a professor there. Quite an established musician and really a wonderful guy. So please check out this interview, like the interview, share with your friends, and stay tuned. We've got a lot more future interviews coming.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, today I'm speaking with a great friend of mine I've known for many years now, maybe 2009 or 2010, Gerry Lopez, one of the top saxophonists in jazz, a rising star in jazz from Mexico, and he's actually quite a global character because he attended school in Paris and in France, and now he is an established educator in Switzerland. So we're speaking across the globe. I'm here in Vermont, and you are in Switzerland, man. So thanks for joining us. It's about 9 p.m. for you over there. Here it's 3 in the afternoon, you know?
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you very much, man, for the invitation. It's an honor to be here talking with you. And yeah, it's been like maybe 11 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty glad, man, to have this conversation with you.
Well, Gerry, you know, I followed your career. You always stood out to me as somebody who was a visionary, especially in like the business sense of this music, continuously pushing boundaries. I was really grateful when you brought me out to Mexico City, to the Zinco Club. You're a humble guy, but you played for some of the real elite of Mexico, for example. You played for like Carlos Slim, and you've played for the president, and you're well established in Mexico. And, you know, I think the last time I really saw you were just getting ready to go to Europe, and now you have done Europe. So let's talk a little bit about like your early background, how you got involved in saxophone, and go on from there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You know, I started like studying piano when I was 6 or 7. But yeah, I started practicing and studying classical music. I was really into it. But when I was like 11, 12, I was a little bit sick. I had a problem around my stomach. And the doctor, he recommended me to start some wind instrument. So at that point, I remember that I saw for the very first time Richie Cole playing at television, because I came from the north of Mexico in the border. So we have some American channels, you know, happening there. So at that time, I remember that I saw, yeah, Richie Cole playing saxophone and jazz, and I was like, what is that, man? It sounds great, and I really wanna learn something about this. So at the school, I remember this professor. He just came from Mexico City at that time, and then yeah, he was playing a little country. He was playing some jazz, some Charlie Parker tunes. So I fall in love like in a second, man. So I was like, I want to do that. I want to blow that instrument. And then I started some lessons. I didn't have instrument at that time. I didn't have my saxophone. So I was just like using his horn. But I was really into it at the point that I quit the piano. I quit classical music. And then I started really like focus and really involved in this music and this instrument. And then since then I moved from Chihuahua, which is my original region. So I moved to Mexico City, and then I started the college, right, the university, and yeah, everything started from there, man. So I had the huge opportunity to play with so many good musicians there. And as you can remember, there is also like an international scene happening there. You know, people from everywhere. So I met a lot of people from the States, from Europe, from all around the world, and they really inspired me to to look for something else and maybe study abroad. And I remember that I had a lot of friends going to Berkeley at that time, but to me it was hard because I even if I found a little scholarship, it was so expensive. So anyway, I started playing with everyone in Mexico City, and then I saved some money, and then I say, okay, let's go to New York. Let's go there and see what is happening, and try to take some lessons with somebody, and then play with some musicians. And that was the time that we met, remember, in New York City. But then I was surprised that it was so much expensive and so hard, everything, that at the same time I met some musicians from France, and they say, man, do you know that in France, like, school is for free, your education is for free, and it's a pretty good level. You should come and then try to get into the university. And that is the thing that I did at that time. You know, I went to Europe, I came here, I made auditions, and then it's gonna be almost the next year. It's gonna be 10 years that I'm here, man.
Wow. You know, yeah, I mean, you come from an interesting point where, like, you know, here in the United States, we have a lot of musicians who are just given everything. Their parents pay for them to get into school. They do, you know, they have the easy routes, and you can hear it in the music. They're not really that hungry for the music. With a player like you, or even like Antonio Sanchez, many of the top players in Mexico, I've seen some of you guys are really hungry for the music, and it really shows in the playing. You know, you are considered one of the top saxophonists in Latin jazz. I remember we played jam sessions. We became close friends. We played in the park, and you kept saying to me, oh, yes, I'm going to bring you to Mexico. I'm going to bring you. And I kept saying, I don't know. And then, yeah, you delivered. I went to Mexico City, and we played. I was there pretty much a week. I had a great time there. We went with another guitarist, Nacho. We went to like kind of the outskirts of Mexico City. We saw the culture there. I found the people were, you know, very genuine and nice people. And now, you know, I remember also meeting, I never met him actually in Mexico, but I remember hearing people talk about him. Tyler Mitchell ended up being one of the first interviews that I did. And we talked about Mexico because he had been there, you know. So, you know, what was it in your inner drive that, you know, helped you to come to like New York and just really keep doing what you're doing? I mean, you even connected with guys like Martin Cohen of Conga Head, and you did a session there. What is it about your personal drive that sets you apart from some of your peers, you know?
Yeah, I mean, in one part, of course, I admire a lot of great musicians in New York, like of course Miguel Zenon, you know, Antonio. He was one of my mentors in some way, you know. He gave me some great advice, and then you have the other scene, like the really heavy cats in jazz, you know, in hard bop, bebop, and all this beautiful music that, I mean, now that I'm living in Europe, I can say that this is happening in New York, you know. So in some point, I wanted to, you know, to be close to them. I wanted to take lessons and go to jam sessions. I remember so many great jams, you know, like at Smalls or Fat Cat, and even playing with like Roy Hargrove, you know, during the jam session, Joel Fram and all those cats. So that was like a very great experience and inspiration. But at the same time, you know that in New York there's so many Latin happening, right? Latin culture from Cuba, Puerto Rico, everywhere, right? Colombia, Brazil. So this part was pretty much great to me because I match with them like boom, very easy, you know, because we shared so many things about our culture, about our musical yeah, idiom. So I started playing a lot with them, especially with Cuban musicians. So very fastly I met Martin Cohen, and then he proposed me to produce something with him, with his channel. I remember at that time he was starting with Conga Head channel on YouTube. So that was pretty great, man. In that part of my experience or life, I have all the memories, and that helped me a lot to grow up, to really find my yeah, my personality in music, and to try all at the same time to develop another things, you know, like harmony and vocabulary, jazz vocabulary, sound,
You know,
etc.
believe it or not, you were kind of the connect for me with Martin Cohen. I remember I was working that day and I was very busy. I couldn't stay very long, but I remember Martin made an impression on me. I gave you guys a ride out there, and I reached out to him later, and then ended up working with him, collaborating, helping him shoot quite many films, and he became a kind of mentor to me. Great guy, and really legendary person in this music. He's shot films of so many people, you know. So now let's talk a little bit about like Europe. I mean, you've won quite a few awards in Europe. You're quite a star there, you know. What was it like coming to Paris, making the connections there in Paris? I have not been to Paris in many years, but I was there in 2003, you know, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
I've been to
So
both the countries, you know. I've been to Paris, I've been all over France, and I've been to Switzerland. They're both beautiful countries, you know. It's a different vibe, you know.
of course, as you know, Paris, it's one of the most important cities for jazz since long time, and since the 40s or 50s, I think. So nowadays they have this great structure of festivals, of schools, workshops, you know, jazz clubs. So many things happening with the jazz, international speaking, and also the French scene. You know, that they're like really strong. And something that I found during my studies at the conservatory was like the way that I tried to show something like different. It was cool because they like it, you know, because they are really used to since long time to check it out, that what is happening, what is new, you know, what's the new thing happening in New York, or they really like culture. They really like to discover new things. So I remember that I put a project at that time with Hans Lavichning, the bass player from Miguel Zenon, and also E.J. Strickland, the drummer from New York, and we recorded an album in Paris, live in Paris, and then I presented to some contest, right? And they received it very well. They called me for the finals, and that was the story when I won this like national France jazz competition or whatever, because thanks to that record I entered to that let's talk a little French mafia, and then since then I won that contest, and I was like a student from the conservatory, but the day after I was already like making interviews in the radio and television and in the jazz magazine. So it was was just crazy. That contest open the possibilities, right, to start really creating and produce, and to produce a new music, man, and with another musicians here. So yeah, I think that helped me a lot, you know, that record and that experience doing that in Paris. They have really, in France, they have, I don't know how many festivals, but they have several festivals happening everywhere every year. So yeah, then I started playing with so many different musicians in different festivals, and then that was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And then you know, you went through. Everybody goes through life changes. You know, in my past, I was for a period of time I was engaged for 6 years. It was almost like a marriage. I have a son, and I know you settled down with somebody for a while, and you kind of got the nice position in Switzerland now this year, starting as a professor of music. So talk about kind of you are now becoming kind of welcome in that country. I would assume you're trying to get a citizenship there now too, right?
Well, until now, you know, I came here for two reasons. The first one, of course, it was my partner, and the second one was because I started a degree in pedagogy music. You know, I was like, okay, I want to continue my like second master degree, because I did one in Paris, a composition, but I was like, you know, I really like to teach and to start projects. You remember I told you once that I was working with this big band, national Mexican big band. So since then I started teaching a lot, right? I mean, the half of my time. So I say, okay, let's do this pedagogical master degree here in Switzerland. And it was funny because since I started, the door just opened up. It was great, you know, because after my studies they offered me this job, right, at the conservatory, which is pretty cool, you know, and that give me the opportunity to some stability, man. And this is something that is a little bit hard for so many musicians around the world.
Stability is absolutely very important. You see this with so many musicians. They're incredible musicians, but they don't have other aspects of their life together. And in the end, it's important to have balance. Everything has to be balanced. That is the most important. Otherwise, you'll have even an example of somebody like Charlie Parker died at 34 years old.
Yeah.
And the doctors say he looked like he was in his 70s, the body. Yes, we remember him and everything, but what would it have been like if we had have Charlie Parker at 90 years old, you know?
Absolutely.
So I think that is a lifelong challenge of any musician, learning about their hobbies and their passions in multiple aspects of life, not just jazz. You know, there's other things to be interested in, but still the one thing that we have in this music is like a brotherhood or a sisterhood.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's kind of amazing. You know, you're over there in Switzerland, I'm here in Vermont. We still can be connected through Zoom. That's great. That's incredible. Yeah. You know, so talk a little bit about now. You know, we won't go too long in this interview because we've got other things, and you probably have things to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, but talk a little bit about how you are dealing with the coronavirus right now. Obviously, everybody follows this. We usually have Vermont is the best in the country, but then I look over in Europe and wow, they started the lockdowns, and now the lockdowns are coming back here. So how are you dealing with that? And you know, I know I've seen your apartment. You sent me some photos. You've got a studio there, so I would assume you're playing some, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say that I'm very lucky because in some way I have this like teaching job, right? But in the other side, I was playing. I had gigs, you know, here and there. I had since March until the summer. Everything was canceled, as you know. But I also had this side of arrangement composition. So I'm working writing some music, you know, like a commission, and that has really helped me a lot, man, to actually to find this balance, right? Because I can have time, I mean, to work, to teach, but also practice my instrument, you know, try to keep the level and try to discover and keep creative all the time. But I'm also writing a lot, man, spending a lot of time at my studio at home or at my studio and recording different stuff. And I find that pretty cool, actually. I cannot say that I'm like depressed or whatever. I'm feeling good doing all that. I'm more worried about my friends in New York or in Mexico or Latin America, whatever, because some of them they really live from playing, right? I mean, the way they make money is only playing. And but here, thanks God, everything is good. Also, you know, this country, they have this really strong social system, so I don't have problem. But if I will have some problems, I just can ask for help, and they're gonna help. So until now, man, I'm pretty happy doing, you know, keeping pushing a little bit the music, trying to practice for myself and collaborate with so many musicians around the world, recording with them. You know, it's not the same, of course. I would like to play live music, but
no, I find it's really great. You know, I guess this is an honest question I would ask you. Is like, uh, everybody knows, like, as a person of color from a different place, you kind of go where you're welcome, you know. How is it for you as a Mexican immigrant in Switzerland? Do you experience the racism? Because I do know that with all the migrants coming from Africa, there is a lot of friction in Europe, and there's the terrorist attacks, and there's all this stuff. How do they treat you as somebody from Mexico?
yeah, I mean, until now, the people that I have the opportunity to know, or they can know me more, a little bit more. They notice that you know, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I'm maybe not this kind of person who really need to go to somewhere else because he really need to work in any job. You know what I'm saying? So that changed a little bit everything, but I can say that this cliche of being Mexican, for example, like people really start joking about narcos and about Chapo Guzman and about drugs and things like that. You know, at the beginning it was fun, like, oh yeah, you know, oh yeah, narcos, and but then if you go deeper, they don't really understand anything about what is the situation back then in the
It's
country,
those,
right?
you know, I found that came out of the TV shows on Netflix, like Narcos, Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
There is such a fascination with that, and the drug epidemic and stuff. I hadn't even really considered it. You know, it's unfortunate. You probably experienced that. That's hurtful. You know, when people are talking about that type of stuff. You know.
quite all the time. But yeah, I'm just trying, you know, to try to share with them my experience, what I know or what I think about the situation, which is really this is hard. You know, it's hard. A lot of people dies every day because of that social problematics. But this is more or less the kind of races or classes that I'm receiving. Never further than that. Actually, it's funny because here is a tiny country, right? 8 million people living here, and they have a good respect for the others. And of course, they notice that you are not from here in 2 seconds, right? Because everybody is blonde and blue eyes and whatever. But I found that once we start like knowing each other, then we really can connect and develop a friendship, and that's pretty cool, man.
You know, this is a positive message that I try to instill in people, like from kind of what I've learned. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about your character, who you are, your character. And I've even found like you meet somebody who might have initially been racist. Once they know who your character is, they're like, oh,
Exactly.
It starts making them question, you know. So the people, you know, most of us good musicians or artists who are good people, they start to question, oh, maybe not all of those people are like that, you know. And that is the only way we will eventually break that kind of racism, you know, is through being true to ourselves and being good people, you know.
Absolutely, man.
You know, Gerry, you know, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
We will try to speak with you again, you know, as the epidemic is over, because you have many more projects. And, you know, I'm looking forward to playing with you again. And, you know, we talked, we have business ideas, you know. This is a lifelong friendship. You know, you guys showed me a lot of hospitality in Mexico that I will never forget, you know.
With great pleasure, man, and I'm really looking forward to be able to, I don't know, be back in the US, or you can come to visit me here and show you how it's life here, man. You're gonna enjoy it, I'm sure about it. And thank you for the interviews. Thank you for your support for jazz musician, and now opening, like, doing this kind of interview with non-American musicians. Thank you for that, and see you next time.
See you next time.